Tribe, I become invincible with my 10,000 times bonus from the start. Chapter 81, A Gift from the Shadow Dragon. All in all, killing a gold grade boss had given him decent rewards. First, he had obtained a large amount of EXP. Currently, Cheng needed to upgrade his own level by leveling up most of his troops. The difference in strength between them was massive. Moreover, the Shadow World was a special map. There were level 1 trash monsters and many mythical grade monsters here. Hence, Cheng planned to level up all of his troops to their maximum levels. The Frost Dragons, in particular, required a lot of EXP to level up. Just one Frost Dragon alone required more EXP than all of a normal Lord's troops. Apart from EXP and contribution points, what surprised Cheng the most was that his shadow points could also be amplified 10,000 times. One had to know that for such a large-scale event, his points could also be exchanged for many top-tier equipment and troops. Thinking of this, Cheng opened the shadow shop. Since he had entered the event map in advance, he naturally had to plan his journey well. Cheng felt that with the 10,000 times increase, he had a chance to empty the shop again. However, the previous times he did that were from the Church of Light. This time, the shop belonged to the Shadow World. Ding, dong. Please, select the item category. 1. Army type. 2. Materials. 3. Equipment. 4. Consumable items. Cheng opened up the various lists and began to look through them. The first was the army type. The most trashy among them were the level 2 ghost soldiers, an ordinary close combat type of soldier that did not have any special features. However, Cheng saw something special. In the last column of the low-level ghost, he discovered a message. Low-level ghost. Points required for exchange, 100. Remaining quantity, 120 trillion. Cheng was very sure that in his previous life, he definitely did not remember there being a remaining quantity column. On second thought, was this a hidden message? Could ordinary players see it? The goods on the shadow shop were limited. Cheng also understood that even the most trashy military types could be exchanged online. Hence, the quantity of each item could not be infinite. The rarer the military type, the lesser the number of said type could be exchanged for. However, no one knew the exact number. Thinking of this, Cheng continued browsing through the shop. Naturally, he was not interested in low-level soldiers. He scrolled down to the bottom of the army type list, looking for the most precious type of soldier. Level 12 Shadow Assassin. Points required for exchange, 200,000. Remaining quantity, 500,000. Hint: if you purchase all the Shadow Assassins in one go, you won't obtain the soldiers. Instead, you'll obtain the recruitment authority of that soldier type. When he saw the last message, Cheng was extremely certain that this was a hidden message. He really did not expect that the shop access that Lillian had obtained would not only allow him to open the shop at any time but would also allow him to see many extremely useful hidden messages. The importance of the recruitment authority was needless to say. It was much more useful than the 500,000 soldiers. Although he would not be able to obtain that many soldiers in a short period of time, 500,000 soldiers would still be consumed. It was different with the recruitment authority as it gave one the ability to continuously recruit those soldiers. In that case, accumulating 500,000 soldiers was just a matter of time. Cheng knew that Shadow Assassins were an extremely powerful type of soldier. As a type of soldier that could be exchanged for during events, their attributes and skills had been publicized on the forums in his previous life. They had top-notch mobility and stealth. If Cheng remembered correctly, they were a rare type of soldier that could be permanently invisible. Their attacks also had a very high critical strike bonus. Their weakness was that they were just like the other assassin soldiers, they were too fragile. However, they were not to be underestimated. In every large-scale event in his previous life, every alliance and every guild would do their best to exchange for such a type of soldier. It was definitely not something that could be exchanged for by a single person. Naturally, no one had ever received the right to recruit those soldiers. This time, Li Cheng did not intend to let it go. What he wanted was all his. After closing the army type interface, Li Cheng opened the equipment column. There were a lot of different types of equipment listed. The most garbage equipment at the top was naturally trash equipment. Li Cheng immediately scrolled down to the bottom of the list. Phantom Pearl, Mythical Grade, Tier 2. Soldier Equipment, 10 billion contribution points. When he saw this equipment, Li Cheng narrowed his eyes slightly. This name was too familiar to him. As a super large-scale event that was happening in the entire world, how could there not be powerful mythical equipment? The attributes of this Phantom Pearl were extremely powerful. It could also be said that it was the exclusive equipment of the Shadow Assassin. If the Shadow Assassin was equipped with this pearl, it could activate its remaining 2 skills. One of the skills was that the Shadow Assassins could escape into the Shadow World, making it an invincible skill. Whenever there was danger, they could simply cross over the normal plane and escape into the Shadow World. By then, even a god could not do anything to it. The other skill was also the most perverse one. Its effect gave the Shadow Assassins the ability to not reveal themselves when attacking. What did this mean? This meant that one would get attacked without being able to see their opponent who was still invisible. In other words, one would not have the ability to fight back, unless it was a large-scale AoE skill that was released into the air, the only kind of attack that could pose a threat to the Shadow Assassins. However, there were not many troops that had such a skill. Naturally, Li Cheng did not intend to let go of this equipment. Just as Li Cheng was about to buy it, a few new pieces of equipment suddenly appeared in the equipment catalog in front of him. He was stunned for a moment, but he remained calm as he looked at the items. Shadow Armor, Mythical Grade, Tier 1. Hero Equipment, 1 trillion Shadow Points. Only Shadow Princess Lillian can use it. Shadow Helmet, Mythical Grade, Tier 1. Hero Equipment, 1 trillion Shadow Points. Only Shadow Princess Lillian can use it. Shadow Boots, Mythical Grade, Tier 1. Hero Equipment, 1 trillion Shadow Points. Only Shadow Princess Lillian can use it. Shadow Shoulder Pads, Mythical Grade, Tier 1. Hero Equipment, 1 trillion Shadow Points. Only Shadow Princess Lillian can use it. Shadow Gloves, Mythical Grade, Tier 1. Hero Equipment, 1 trillion Shadow Points. Only Shadow Princess Lillian can use it. Hint: the above equipment are gifts prepared by the Shadow Dragon for Shadow Princess Lillian. You must buy it at the same time. If you want to buy it, you have to have the required amount of points. This is also a test from the Shadow Dragon for you. Looking at the information of these equipment, Li Cheng's pupils suddenly shrank. These equipment were naturally invisible to other players, and they were actually a set of mythical grade equipment. One had to know that a full set of equipment was very rare. If one managed to gather an entire set, there would be a special set effect. As for the appearance of a full mythical grade set, it could only be said to be abnormal. Most importantly, these equipment were exclusive to Lillian. Chapter 82, Lillian. Li Cheng naturally would not let go of Lillian's exclusive equipment. However, every piece of equipment required 1 trillion shadow points. Compared to the Phantom Pearl, it was countless times more expensive. The 5 pieces of equipment would cost him a total of 5 trillion shadow points. For ordinary players, this was an impossible mission since they had only been in the game for 3 days. However, for Li Cheng, this was too easy. Even if it was 10 times more expensive, Li Cheng could easily achieve it, let alone 5 trillion. The materials catalog also had a remaining quantity column. However, Li Cheng did not look at it. The reason was very simple. He planned to complete a big task and purchase all the items in the shop. After all, no one would complain about having too many consumables like materials. Moreover, there was no expiration date. It was just a matter of building more warehouses. On top of that, seeing as how it was a world event, there would definitely be some rare materials listed. As for the list of consumable items, there were all kinds of potions that players could exchange for. There were those that could recover HP, speed up their troops, and restore morale. No matter what consumable items were listed, those items also had levels. Cheng once again scrolled all the way to the bottom. Speed scroll, Legendary, 1000000 Shadow Points. Remaining quantity, 1000. Supreme Life Potion, Legendary, 1000000 Shadow Points. Remaining quantity, 1000. Supreme Inspiration Scroll, Legendary, 1000000 Shadow Points. Remaining quantity, 1000. There were 3 consumable items, and they were all legendary grade. As for the items in the consumable list, regardless of whether they were high-level or low-level items, he planned to buy them all up. No one would complain about having too many of these items. In the future, if he had an alchemy table, low-level potions could be synthesized into high-level ones. This way, he would have more high-level potions that could help him. After closing the shop, Cheng had a plan in mind. To put it simply, he just needed to kill the monsters and earn more points. Thinking of this, Cheng opened the map. Suddenly, a series of system notifications rang in his ears. Ding, dong, you're currently on a special map. You're unable to obtain any map information. Please, explore on your own. Ding, dong, as your hero Shadow Princess Lillian is extremely familiar with this map, all the fog of war in the current map has dispersed. Ding, dong, you've discovered the map, Shadow Swamp. As the first player in the world to discover this map, your reward is 10 reputation points. Ding, dong, you've discovered the map, Ghost Beast Lair. As the first player in the world to discover this map, your reward is 10 reputation points. Ding, dong, you've triggered a 10,000 times amplification and obtained 100,000 reputation points. Ding, dong, you've triggered a 10,000 times amplification and obtained 100,000 reputation points. Ding, dong. Ding, dong, you've completed the quest, Exploring the Shadow Swamp. Your reward is 5,000 shadow points. You've unlocked the next phase of the quest. The related quests have been distributed. Please, take a look. Ding, dong, you've triggered a 10,000 times amplification and obtained 5 million shadow points. Ding, dong, you've completed the quest. Ding, dong, you've discovered the map, Shining Fortress. This map's extremely dangerous. Please, do not approach it. Ding, dong, you've discovered the map, Shadow Mirror. This map's extremely dangerous. Please, do not approach it. Ding, dong. The system's notifications rang for a whole minute before it stopped. Cheng was also a little dumbfounded. In the end, he could not help but sigh at the shadow world. It was indeed Lillian's home ground, so she could be said to be very familiar with the environment here and in turn, causing the entire map to be activated immediately. With just this step, Cheng was countless times ahead of the other players. Every time those players arrived at a place, they would have to carefully explore the map, afraid that they would accidentally encounter some terrifying creature's nest. However, Cheng was different. He knew where there were high-level monsters and where they could not go. For example, there was a bottomless whirlpool in the north. That was where the Shadow Dragon was. In the Shadow World, even if a powerful undying god ventured there, the Shadow Dragon would be able to scatter his ashes. It was the number 1 forbidden ground in the Shadow World. At the same time, as a world event, there were naturally many activities and quests. The players could at most receive one quest at the same time, and it was of the normal kind. However, Cheng had accepted all the quests by default, which was more than 30 quests at the same time. After this wave of system notifications, he had completed all the exploration quests, earning himself more than 30 million reputation points. The shadow points he obtained were even more ridiculous, reaching a terrifying 1.2 billion. Thinking of this, Cheng immediately looked at the map. At this time, the shadow world had been unlocked and there were some places that even Cheng had not been to in the past. In his previous life when the event had ended, the players had not explored 1/10 of the shadow world. Cheng marked a few red dots on the map and laid out the route to advance. Then, he looked at Lillian and said, "Lillian, check if there are any problems with my route." Lillian looked at it then pondered for a moment. After silently modifying a few places on the map, she said to Cheng, "This way, there won't be any problems, Lord." At first glance, Lillian's marks did not seem to follow common sense. There were some places where they would take a detour and then turn back. However, Cheng nodded in response. The shadow world was different from the main world. The path that one should venture on was also extremely special. Sometimes, one might appear to have only taken a single step, but in the reality of the shadow world, one had already taken countless steps. Therefore, Lillian's role in this event was truly too great, as expected of her old nest. She was indeed worthy of being an SSS-class hero who did not even need to use an advancement stone. She was simply a cheat-like existence. Compared to the other female heroes, even Frost Princess Sylvia had used an advancement stone before. Among the current few heroes he had, only Lillian was an original SSS-class hero. After setting up the battle plan, Cheng led his troops to move quickly. The first red dot he marked was the lair of a specter beast. A normal two-headed ghost beast was a level 20 tier 4 monster. Cheng remembered that there were many level 50 gold grade bosses in the lair. He could use them to level up, seeing how he was really short of experience points at the moment. Looking into the lair, there was nothing there. However, Cheng knew that there were at least hundreds of thousands of ghost beasts hidden in there. If a player barged into the lair, he would not even have the time nor the place to cry. Thinking of this, Cheng did not hesitate and immediately ordered, "In 5 minutes, clear this lair for me." Chapter 83, Insta-kill before they even appear. Following Cheng's command, the three heroines and Pearl nodded and ordered the team to enter battle mode. Sylvia was the first to make a move. She instantly transformed into her dragon form and let out a long dragon's roar. Following that, thousands of frost dragons charged toward the nest. Roar! Countless frost dragons released their terrifying black dragon's breath in an instant. Even in the shadow world where one could not see the colors, one could still feel the bone-chilling coldness from their attacks. At the same time, Lillian and Luna also reacted. The Heavenly Knights charged forward and activated their AoE skills. The spears in their hands exploded with terrifying energy. Luna ordered the Frost Marksman to release the Frost Arrow Rain. After reaching the maximum level, the Frost Arrow Rain dealt full damage. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Countless arrows instantly formed a large net as all three types of soldiers fired at full power. Large-scale AoE skills were instantly released. When their skills landed on the nest, the sound of system notifications rang in Cheng's ears. Ding, dong, your troops have killed 1,000 level 4 specters and obtained 400 experience points. You've triggered a 10,000 times amplification. Your troops have obtained 4 million experience points and you've obtained 40,000 points. Ding, dong, you've obtained 40 shadow points. You've also triggered a 10,000 times amplification and obtained 400,000 shadow points. Ding, dong, one of your frost dragons has leveled up. Currently, it's at level 2. Ding, dong, one of your heavenly knights has leveled up. Currently, it's at level 5. 1,000 ordinary ghost beasts would only provide him with 40 points. Even with a 10,000 times increase in shadow points, it would amount to 400,000 points. This was still too little for Li Cheng, who planned to empty the shop. Hence, Li Cheng's target was still the boss. Under the bombardment of large AoE attacks, many bosses exploded instantly. With so many powerful troops bullying the low-level gold-grade bosses, it would be strange if they were not instantly killed. Li Cheng's points were constantly increasing. Pearl, who was at the side, was shocked again. Her small mouth could not close at all. This was the first time she had seen Li Cheng's troops fight. She initially thought that since she had tens of millions of troops in her hands, it must be the main force of this battle. However, it seemed that she was just here to shop. She did not even have the chance to make a move. As a high-level player, her reaction speed was not slow. She quickly ordered her army to start pushing forward and surround those who escaped. Li Cheng saw her actions and nodded secretly. Pearl knew her position very well. She immediately chose to use tens of thousands of troops to support him. It was not easy to do this. At this moment, the system's voice rang in Li Cheng's ear. Warning! Because you've killed too many ghost beasts, you've completely angered the epic grade boss, 10-headed hellhound. It'll pursue you relentlessly. As soon as the system's voice fell, a huge dark shadow appeared in the center of the ghost lair. In regards to ghost beasts, the darker their color, the stronger they were. The epic boss approached angrily, wanting to tear Li Cheng into pieces. However, before it could show itself, it was enveloped by countless arrows from the elves. In just a second, its HP bar was emptied. At the same time, the system's voice was heard. Ding, dong. Your troops have killed the epic grade boss, the 10-headed hellhound. You've obtained 50 million experience points. You've also triggered a 10,000 times amplification and obtained 500 million experience points. Ding, dong, one of your frost dragons has leveled up. Currently, it's at level 27. Ding, dong, you've obtained 3 million shadow points. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase and obtained 30 billion shadow points. Ding, dong, one of your heavenly knights has leveled up. Currently, it's at level 20. Ding, dong. Everything happened so fast that even Li Cheng could not react in time. Even he was a little speechless. How could an epic grade boss have the courage to say that it was going to pursue him relentlessly? Could it be possible that it did not have a clear idea of its own strength? Meanwhile, Pearl was completely dumbfounded. That was an epic grade boss. Why did it seem like a small soldier instead? It was instantly killed before it even appeared. Was this something that a human could do? Li Cheng was also a little surprised by this boss. Just this boss alone gave him 30 billion shadow points. Compared to those ordinary monsters, it was simply incomparable. Looks like I'll still have to kill more bosses, Li Cheng thought to himself. Now that I've cleared this place, it's time to move on to the next one. Then, he ordered the troops to continue moving forward. About half an hour later, Pearl casually tossed out a mystical potion. The venom on her face was disappearing and the monsters in front of her were continuously losing HP. Li Cheng gave her a few thousand bottles and played around with them. After half an hour of marching, Li Cheng had destroyed 3 monster nests and killed a few bosses that had tried to stop him. His shadow points had now reached 62.6 billion. He was quite satisfied with this growth rate. He remembered that in his previous life, it was the same event. The number 1 player was Eve from the Eagle Alliance, but her points were only in the hundreds of billions and she exchanged them for the Phantom Pearl. Currently, Li Cheng only needed a few hours to surpass her 3 days of hard work. One had to know that the Shadow World event at that time only happened a few years later. By then, Eve's equipment was almost complete. It was completely different now. According to Li Cheng's plan, he needed to reach 100 billion points so he could exchange for the Shadow Assassins. Obtaining their recruitment authority was the most important thing. With his current speed, he would be able to do it very quickly. At this moment, Li Cheng came to a place that was also quite special in the shadow world, the remains of the Profound Empire. The Profound Empire was once a huge human empire that spanned across the entire continent. Legend had it that there were trillions of soldiers in the top ranks, and it was most famous for its spells and puppets. The puppets produced by the Profound Empire had already reached the top ranks. Even the immortal wonder in Li Cheng's territory, the Profound Altar, originated from the Profound Empire. Although the Profound Empire had been destroyed for thousands of years, anything related to them was not as simple. After marching for a few minutes, Li Cheng heard the warning from the system. You've entered an unknown area. This area is extremely dangerous. Please, be careful. Chapter 84, Am I a descendant of the royal family? Listening to the system notification ringing in his ear, Li Cheng knew that he had come to the right place. A trace of solemnity flashed across Lillian's eyes. The Profound Empire had killed countless gods. No one knew what was hidden inside. Li Cheng marked a point on the map and then commanded the troops to move forward. Before they had taken a few steps, some broken stone pillars made of marble appeared in front of them. From the style and layout of these stone pillars, it could be seen that they were in the ruins of a large city that existed a long time ago. Above these ruins, Li Cheng saw many huge monsters floating in the air. They were completely made of energy. Li Cheng cast a detection spell and soon, the information of these energy clusters appeared in front of him. Plague Puppet. Description: a profound puppet made by the Profound Empire. Its body has been implanted with a highly toxic module developed by a special researcher. Its body contains a highly toxic poison. Level: 40. Grade: Diamond. HP: 550 million. Attack: 2200. Defense: 3500. Skills: Physical Resistance, Regeneration, Highly Poisonous Attack, Energy Exposure. Looking at the data before him, Li Cheng's eyes lit up. It was indeed a profound puppet. Not to mention, it was a special puppet, a level 40 diamond grade boss. Other than having extremely high HP and defense, all of these profound puppets had extremely high physical resistance. Most importantly, they also had a regeneration skill. When their HP was below 10%, they could instantly be revived with full HP as long as they replenished their energy in time. This skill was also the greatest characteristic of the profound puppets. Due to this characteristic, the puppets had become extremely overpowered meat shield soldiers. If the players did not have any special moves, they would not be able to kill them at all. However, in front of Li Cheng, this was meaningless. The Heart of Massacre could provide a high amount of true damage. All of their defense and resistance stats were like a wall made of paper, unable to withstand a single blow. At this moment, the profound puppets had noticed Li Cheng's troops. They instantly charged toward them at an unbelievable speed. Without needing Li Cheng to personally give the order, the female heroes under his command had already launched their attacks. Countless damage numbers appeared above their heads. In less than a second, all of the profound puppets' HPs had been reduced to 0. There was no time for them to recharge at all. As they fell, the sound of system notifications rang out. Ding, dong. Your troops have killed the diamond grade boss, the plague puppet. You've obtained 8 million experience points. You've also triggered a 10,000 times amplification. Your troops have obtained 80 million experience points. You've obtained 8 million experience points. Ding, dong. You've obtained 800,000 shadow points. You've also triggered a 10,000 times amplification and obtained 8 million shadow points. Ding, dong. These seemingly powerful profound puppets were all here to give Li Cheng points. Each puppet produced several billion points, which was why Li Cheng was here. At that moment, Li Cheng had a few heroines that acted on their own, slaughtering those profound puppets. Meanwhile, he was sizing up the ruins in front of him. He remembered that there was an extremely powerful legendary grade profound puppet here. As long as he could kill it, he would definitely have a massive amount of experience points and shadow points. After searching for a few more minutes, Li Cheng's expression brightened. Near an inconspicuous ruin, he found an inconspicuous groove. Without even thinking, Li Cheng pressed down on it. Rumble. The entire city started to rumble with a series of loud sounds. Even the ground began to tremble. A few seconds later, the ground in front of Li Cheng began to crack and a profound puppet that was dozens of meters tall appeared before his eyes. Its body contained a tremendous amount of magical energy and its eyes, which were also made of energy, were staring fixedly at Li Cheng. Its voice sounded unusually dull. Descendant of the imperial family of the Profound Empire, was it you who woke me up? As the puppet in front of him spoke, all the puppets in the ruins stopped moving. Seeing this, the female heroes and Pearl stopped the troops from attacking as well. They looked at Li Cheng, waiting for his order. At this time, Li Cheng was a little confused. A descendant? The imperial family of the Profound Empire? Was it talking about him? Why was he unaware that he had become a descendant of the imperial family of the Profound Empire? Thinking of this, Li Cheng cast a detection spell on the huge puppet and its data immediately appeared in front of him. Profound Puppet 007. Description: the highest level puppet made by the Royal Warlock Association of the Profound Empire. The body of the puppet is integrated with the most powerful arcane core in the world. It's extremely strong, and it has the strength to be on par with a mythical grade existence. Level: 150. Grade: Legendary Tier 9. HP: 800 billion. Attack: 130 million. Defense: 32,000. Skills: Physical Resistance, Regeneration, Arcane Leakage, Energy Exposure. Seeing the information that popped up from the system, Li Cheng was also shocked. He had never thought that this profound puppet was actually a level 150 legendary grade boss. Its attributes were ridiculously high. It had a total of 800 billion HP. This number was much higher than the Church of Poison's Holy Sun. It could be said that this puppet was hundreds of miles ahead of him. However, Li Cheng thought about something. In his previous life when the Shadow World event started, it only started a few years later. This boss, which was recorded on the forums, was naturally not too low-leveled. Li Cheng was still stuck on the puppet's words of him being a descendant of the royal family. He could not figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. Hence, he could not help but ask, "I'm a descendant of the royal family of the Profound Empire." Various data appeared in the puppet's eyes. It replied, "According to the records in my database, your bloodline matches the bloodline of the 73rd Princess son-in-law." After pausing for a moment, the profound puppet lowered its head slightly and said, "I'm Profound Puppet 007. I'm happy to serve you." Li Cheng was even more dumbfounded. The whole thing had already exceeded his expectations. He clearly remembered that the profound puppets here had always been in a hostile state. Back then, the players who had explored this place paid an extremely heavy price. But now, all the names of the profound puppets had turned blue. This meant that their relationship with Li Cheng had become friendly. It was ridiculous. Just a moment ago, they had been fighting to the death. Now, it was a friendly relationship. The 73rd Princess of the Profound Empire. Li Cheng remembered that this was the last remaining princess of the Profound Empire. She was the descendant of the Emperor's son-in-law. Naturally, she was also considered a descendant of the royal family. This was what he was thinking about. Li Cheng asked, "What exactly happened here?" Chapter 85, The Profound Puppet's SSS-class Mission. Back then, a violent explosion occurred in the Empire's Mage Tower, destroying the entire empire. Her Highness the Princess urgently moved us to the Shadow World. After arriving here, I fell into a deep sleep. I don't know the rest, Profound Puppet 007 answered truthfully. Then, as if it thought of something, it continued to speak. Great Descendant of the royal family, please, help me rescue the other 3 Profound Puppets. This way, we can unseal the remains left behind by Her Highness the Princess. As Profound Puppet 007's voice fell, the system notification rang in Li Cheng's ears. Ding, dong, Profound Puppet 007 has given you the mission, sealed remains. Will you accept it? Li Cheng hesitated for a moment before choosing to accept the mission in the end. Ding, dong, you've successfully received the hidden SSS-class mission, sealed remains. Sealed remains. Mission description: Profound Puppet 007 requests that you activate the other 3 legendary grade puppets. This way, you can activate the remains left behind by the Profound Empire's princess. Mission nature: only hidden. Mission difficulty: 1.3 billion. Mission content: activate the designated Profound Puppets and find the unknown remains. Mission reward: 10 million gold coins, Profound Puppet Recruitment Authority, 500,000,000 shadow points. Hint: the other Profound Puppets are scattered in extremely dangerous areas of the shadow world. Please, proceed with caution. After reading the mission information, Li Cheng's eyes could not help but light up. The reward for this mission was very generous. Just the shadow points alone were 50 million. What was even more terrifying was that he could obtain the recruitment authority of the Profound Puppets. One should know that the Profound Puppets were the same as the Frost Dragons. As Li Cheng's territory developed, he would need some meat shield soldiers. And that time, the Profound Puppets would be the most suitable for that role. Thinking of this, Li Cheng closed the mission panel. Then, the body of Profound Puppet 007 started to dim as its voice sounded extremely weak. Great Descendant of the royal family, I look forward to your good news. As its voice fell, its huge body also fell weakly to the ground. Of course, it did not die. It merely entered a special energy-efficient state. This was also one of the main reasons why it could survive from the collapse of the Empire until now. Li Cheng took a deep breath. According to Profound Puppet 007, he marked a few new locations on the map and handed them to Lillian. What's so special about these locations? After looking at the locations, Lillian frowned. The nest of the winged nightshade, the camp of the plain bandits, and the last one's the underground city built by the demons. Hearing this, Li Cheng's mouth twitched involuntarily. He was a little speechless. There was not a single good place in those 3 locations. The winged nightshade was a level 8 flying type soldier that was extremely difficult to deal with. However, this place was the easiest out of the 3 places. From the name alone, one could tell that the Plain Bandits was a bandit group that traveled in different planes. If one were to think about it, to be able to rob different planes without getting caught signified that their strength was incomparably strong. The last place was the one that surprised Li Cheng the most. Demons were the most powerful enemies of the good faction. Generally speaking, they lived in the bottomless abyss, a city built by demons whereby its defense was naturally extremely tight. If they were to forcefully attack it, even Li Cheng would have to pay a heavy price. Thinking of this, Li Cheng understood why the Shadow Dragon wanted to get rid of those evil forces. Closing the map, Li Cheng did not intend to act immediately. Those 3 locations were quite far away. Even with Lillian's guidance, it would still take a few hours. Also, once the event officially started, there would be all kinds of special events that provided all kinds of buffs. At that time, Li Cheng's combat power could be increased again, so Li Cheng was not in a hurry to act now. He opened the shop's interface. He had killed dozens of Profound Puppets and his points were close to 300 billion, so he did not hesitate to buy all kinds of items that were listed. Ding, dong, you've consumed 80 billion shadow points and successfully purchased the Shadow Assassin. Ding, dong, due to your current location, This purchase has been replaced with the Shadow Assassin's Recruitment Authority. Ding, dong, you've unlocked a new building, Shadow Sanctuary. Ding, dong, you've consumed 80 billion shadow points and successfully purchased the mythical grade Phantom Pearl. Ding, dong, you've consumed 8 billion shadow points and successfully purchased 1,000 legendary grade Supreme Life Potion. Ding, dong, you've consumed 8 billion shadow points and successfully purchased. Ding, dong, you've consumed 8 billion shadow points. Ding, dong, due to the number of shadow points you've consumed, your legendary grade title, Extravagant Spender, has been upgraded to the mythical grade title, God Descent. After a wave of purchases, the words sold out appeared on many items in the shop. Without a doubt, Li Cheng's style of emptying the shop was still the same. His shadow points had also gone from nearly 300 billion to a little over 50 billion. He opened his backpack and checked the attributes of the various consumable items. Speed Scroll. Level 1. Grade, Legendary. Effect, after use, all units within 2,000 yards will have their movement speed increased by 500% for 1 hour. Cooldown time, 1 hour. Supreme Life Potion. Level 1. Grade, Legendary. Effect, after use, all units within 2,000 yards will recover 1 million HP. Cooldown, 5 minutes. Supreme Encouragement Scroll. Level 1. Grade, Legendary. Effect, after use, the morale of all units within 2,000 yards will maintain at full capacity for 1 hour. Cooldown, 1 hour. These 3 potions were all practical at full capacity. The speed scroll could provide an hour of acceleration, increasing the user's speed by 5 times. If Lillian's Shadow March was added into the equation and paired with Li Cheng's current Holy War buff, it could be described as flying when running. The Supreme Life Potion was one of the top-tier AoE recovery potions. It could recover 1 million HP of all units within 2,000 yards at a time. In other words, other than the meat shield soldiers, 1 million HP could be recovered instantly. Meanwhile, the Supreme Encouragement Scroll could forcefully boost the morale of the troops. This could be said to be extremely abnormal. As long as this scroll was used, even the cowardly gnomes would not be afraid of death. However, this scroll was not that significant to Li Cheng. His troops were all extremely elite. Regardless of what kind of troops they were, their morale was extremely high. Among the 3 troops, there would be no signs of them fleeing even if they fought to the very last unit. At the same time, the Legendary Speed Scroll and the Supreme Encouragement Scroll had the same cooldown period. In other words, if one had enough of them, one could keep using them. Chapter 86, The First Group of Shadow Assassins. Li Cheng casually gave Pearl a few hundred bottles of those 3 potions. In any case, such large-scale events were bound to happen again. If there was no other time, he could just buy them again. Pearl was already somewhat numb to Li Cheng's generosity and strength. She obediently took the bottles and thanked him. The more she interacted with Li Cheng, the more unfathomable his image in her heart became. At this moment, Li Cheng casually waved his hand and a teleportation door appeared in front of him. In the blink of an eye, he returned to his own territory, opened the building blueprints, and started to construct the newly unlocked building in his territory. Ding, dong, you've consumed 1 million units of wood, stone, and iron ore to build the Shadow Sanctuary. Ding, dong, you've used the building spawn rate card successfully. Ding, dong, you've consumed 100 million units of wood, stone, and iron ore to level up the Shadow Sanctuary. Currently, it's at level 2. Ding, dong. Li Cheng used the building spawn rate card, pushing the level of the Shadow Sanctuary to its maximum. Shadow Sanctuary. Description: the training ground for the Shadow Assassins. It's said that there's a statue of the Shadow Dragon here. However, even the Shadow Assassins have never seen the real body of the Shadow Dragon. Level 10. Daily output, 0/2000. Production type, Shadow Assassin, level 11. Production cost, 2000 gold coins. Production time, 30 seconds. Upgrade requirement, max level. Like all legendary soldiers, he could only produce 2000 Shadow Assassins per day. Li Cheng did not dawdle and immediately began the recruitment. Ding, dong, you've used up 400,000 gold coins and recruited 2000 Shadow Assassins. Ding, dong, you've successfully used the army spawn rate card. Ding, dong, you've used up 400,000 gold coins and recruited 2000 Shadow Assassins. The recruitment card and the refresh card were used consecutively and the recruitment of 4,000 Shadow Assassins was successful. Immediately, a large group of light grey shadows appeared in front of Li Cheng. Only the cold daggers in their hands reflected with a faint cold light. Even under the sunlight, the shadows of the Shadow Assassins were extremely hidden. Even if one were to look carefully, it would be very difficult to discover that they were permanently invisible. Li Cheng checked their attributes. Shadow Assassin. Description: Shadow Assassins from the Shadow World. They were just ordinary ghosts in the past. After they made up their minds to become the followers of the Shadow Dragon, they went through hellish training and became the top assassins in the world. Level 1. Attack 620. Defense 130. Grade 11. Race Ghost. HP 9000. Skill 1, Ghostly Concealment, level max. Effect: the Shadow Assassins are permanently invisible. This invisibility effect cannot be detected by any items below mythical grade. Only when attacking an enemy, the Shadow Assassins will reveal themselves. Skill 2, Shadow Pursuit, level max. The Shadow Assassin will lock onto an enemy and launch into an endless pursuit. Effect: after the skill is activated, Shadow Assassin's target locks onto an enemy. When attacking the enemy, the Shadow Assassin will automatically teleport behind the enemy. Skill 3, Fatal Backstab, level 1. Effect: when attacking the enemy from behind, critical rate plus 20%, critical damage plus 50%. Morale, max. Loyalty, max. Food consumption, 200 crystals per day. As an assassin class, the Shadow Assassin's attack clearly exceeded the range of the average assassin. It was even higher than a level 11 Heavenly Knight. In comparison, its defense and HP were pitifully low, even lower than the Frost Marksman. It could be said that it was a relatively extreme class. The three skills were very practical. When combining Shadow Pursuit and Fatal Backstab, it was simply a nightmare for the back row. Even if an enemy's mage had a flash skill, they could instantly appear behind the enemy's back and deliver a fatal blow. One had to know that Shadow Pursuit did not have a designated duration. As long as the Shadow Assassin locked onto an enemy, it would be a fight to the death. The only drawback was that it was too fragile and it could be easily killed by the enemy's concentrated fire. Overall, this Shadow Assassin was not bad. Whether it was attributes or skills, they were exactly the same as what he had seen on the forums in his previous life. The only difference was that the Shadow Assassin's morale and loyalty were maxed out. One had to know that the loyalty of the soldiers from the Shadow World was usually very low. However, when it came to Li Cheng, it was directly filled to the brim. He thought for a moment that this should have something to do with Lillian. After checking the attributes of the Shadow Assassins and obtaining his recruitment authority, Li Cheng opened his backpack and looked at the Phantom Pearl that he had exchanged for. Phantom Pearl, mythical. Description: a pearl from the center of the Shadow World. It contains the origin power of the Shadow World. Grade: Mythical Tier 2. Type: Military Equipment. Level: 1. Attribute 1. Military Explosive Damage plus 50%, Evasion Rate plus 50%, can only be equipped by a Shadow Assassin. Attribute 2. Enters the Shadow World after use. Restores 10% HP every second for 30 seconds. Cooldown time, 10 minutes, can only be equipped by a Shadow Assassin. Attribute 3. Born Shadow. Effect: when attacking an enemy, soldiers will be invisible for 5 minutes. Cooldown time, 30 minutes, can only be equipped by a Shadow Assassin. Looking at the attributes of the Phantom Pearl, Cheng was very satisfied. As an equipment that was bound to the Shadow Assassins, the Phantom Pearl could be said to provide the Shadow Assassins with a lot of survivability. When the effects were added together, it was definitely the result of 1 + 1 being greater than 2. At this moment, Cheng did not hesitate to place the Phantom Pearl into the Shadow Assassin's equipment pane. Immediately, all the Shadow Assassins were enveloped by a light grey fog. The aura released from their bodies also became more dangerous, and if others were here, they would not be able to see the Shadow Assassin's figures. This was the effect that Cheng wanted. After returning to his own territory for less than 5 minutes, Cheng once again opened the passage to the Shadow World and entered it. He then handed these 4,000 Shadow Assassins over to Lillian to lead. A hero should not command just one branch of the army. With Lillian's strength, commanding a few billion troops would not even be a problem. Cheng was planning what he was going to do next. The first plan was to continue earning points, empty the items in the event shop, and obtain Lillian's equipment set. The second was to complete the mission target of this large-scale event. The third was to complete Profound Puppet 007's hidden mission. The fourth was to complete Lillian's hero trial. Chapter 87, The Passage to the Shadow World opens. Thinking of this, Cheng opened the mission panel. As a large-scale event, there were many missions prepared for the players, but each mission had specific conditions that needed to be triggered for the mission to appear. However, Cheng had already accepted all of them by default. Looking at the mission list, one mission after another appeared in front of him. Clear the Shadow Ghost Mastiff, D. Help the Aborigines collect the Phantom Fruit, D. Find the Lost Pet, D. There were all kinds of missions, from D-class to S-class missions. Cheng looked at these low-level missions casually. It was not difficult for him at all. He then scrolled all the way to the bottom to look at the missions with the highest difficulty. Clear the Ghost Wolf Lair, S. Clear the Ghost Tree Monster, S. Investigate the Hidden Demon City, SSS. Cheng looked at a bunch of S-class missions. Basically, the objectives were to clear the nests of high-level monsters. The Ghost Wolf was a Tier 7 monster, while the Tree Monster and the Black Bear were Tier 8 monsters. Moreover, their levels were not low either, as the lowest of them were at least level 50. Based on the current level of the players, they definitely did not have the strength to go against them. However, to Cheng, these monsters were just walking experience points. The path he set to clear the monsters was also based on the current missions. Cheng did not care about the rest. Instead, he focused on the last mission. Investigate the Hidden Demon City. Mission description: in a certain corner of the Shadow World, there are frequent occurrences of ghosts disappearing. The investigation team sent by the Shining Fortress has also disappeared. There must be something hidden there. The Shadow Dragon invites you to investigate this matter. Mission nature: hidden. Mission difficulty: 500 million. Mission content: find the hidden demon dungeon. Quest reward: 40 million gold coins, 200,000,000 shadow points. The quest reward of 200,000,000 shadow points could be said to be very generous. However, the quest difficulty was 500 million and the final location was the Demon Dungeon, which overlapped with Profound Puppet 007's quest. It seemed that these two quests could be completed at the same time. Closing the quest panel, Cheng was ready to continue farming monsters. As long as it was an SS rank quest, it had value in his eyes. Thinking of this, he waved his hand and said, "Go all out to farm monsters." As soon as he said that, the female heroes entered battle mode. Pearl's army of 13 million also got into their positions. After getting used to it, it could be said that Pearl was very good at commanding this 13 million strong army. The front and back rows worked closely together, and they even intersected with the enemy's troops. The casualties of the troops, with the help of Asilia's priest group, were pitifully few. Their troops were rapidly reaping the lives of the monsters one by one. They were unstoppable. Time flew by quickly. During this time, Li Cheng's troops did not stop killing monsters. With a loud bang, a huge ghostly beast fell to the ground with a plop, sending dust flying in the air. As the last monster in the area fell, Li Cheng ordered his troops to continue moving forward. The battle continued for more than an hour and all of his troops' experience points were maxed out. The most terrifying were the frost dragons. As max-level champions, it was no joke. These 7,000 frost dragons could easily kill all the frost marksmen and heavenly knights with their current strength. Li Cheng's shadow points had also reached 1.7 trillion. He was still some distance away from being able to purchase Lillian's equipment set, but the overall growth rate was still pretty good. Because Lillian's set needed to be purchased in one go, the shadow points needed to do that was a total of 5 trillion, but he was not in a hurry. He opened the shop and started to purchase all kinds of items from the bottom up. Ding, dong, you've consumed 1,800,000,000 shadow points and purchased 30 million shadow branches. Ding, dong, you've consumed 30 billion shadow points and purchased 50,000 large shadow stones. Ding, dong, you've consumed 48 billion shadow points and purchased 800,000 shadow stones. Ding, dong. Previously, Li Cheng's title had been upgraded to a mythical grade title. Hence, he received a 40% discount from all shops, which could be said to be very powerful. Now, after Li Cheng's operation, there were only a few items left in the entire shop: the lowest level troops, materials, and consumables. The shop had a few 100 trillion items in stock, and Li Cheng stopped clearing it out after buying tens of millions of items. After all, he still needed to leave some items for the others. Other than these items, the other items had a sold out sign over them. In other words, other than the most trashy items, there was nothing else the other players could exchange for. After purchasing the items, Li Cheng nodded his head in satisfaction and took a look at the time. There were still a few minutes left before the rest of the players could enter the shadow world. He was looking forward to seeing the expressions on the players' faces when they entered. Once they entered, he would have cannon fodder. The other time-consuming missions would also be easily completed. Thinking of this, Li Cheng led his troops to the entrance of the players. At noon, the system's voice rang in the ears of the players. World announcement. The passage to the Shadow World has officially opened. All players can enter the Shadow World through a special NPC in their territory in exchange for items. Hint: there are kind and neutral creatures in the Shadow World. Attacking them will anger the Shadow Dragon. Please, proceed with caution. As the system's rumbling voice fell, the players were also rubbing their hands together. They could not wait any longer. They, too, knew the importance of seizing the initiative. As the system's voice fell, they hurriedly engaged in a conversation with the NPCs and entered the Shadow World. When they arrived at the Shadow World, everyone's first reaction was that they were not used to the visual effects here. F***ck, what is this place? Why is it so dark? F***ck, it's my newly dyed hair. Why isn't there any color? Why does the Shadow World look so ugly? Everyone, is it because of the system settings? Why is the picture quality the same as my black and white television? Still in a daze? Who cares about the quality of the picture? This is the first world event. Charge. Let's go. This is our chance to take off. Haha, after I earn enough points in exchange for what I want, I can crush the people from other leagues once I get out. Let's go. Earn points, exchange for godly equipment, and crush the players from other leagues. Is there a bug in this event shop? At that moment, some players noticed something unusual, and everyone looked sideways. Chapter 88, the leaderboard that made everyone despair. After entering the shadow world, the players were all in high spirits. However, very soon, some players noticed the abnormality in the shop. After hearing what the others said, everyone immediately checked the shop as well. F***ck, is there really a bug? Who should I look for to fix this? Did I open it the wrong way? Other than level 2 equipment, the rest of the items have been sold out. Not only that, all the equipment, consumables, and materials above black steel grade have all been sold out. Who the F***ck can tell me what's going on? F***ck, we've met a ghost. Do you guys still remember what happened in the game mall a few days ago? It's the same as this, there's not a single item on it. Is it because we don't have enough points, so it's shown here that it's sold out? Are you stupid? If we don't have enough points, we'll be blacklisted. How would it be sold out? Seeing that the shop was empty, all the players were dumbfounded. Initially, many of them thought that they could make use of this event to soar to the sky. However, reality had poured a bucket of cold water on them. As long as the item was not particularly trashy, all of them were gone. The remaining items were only level 2 soldiers. At this moment, a series of system notifications rang in the players' ears. Ding, dong. The S-class quest, Investigate the Shadow Cave, has been completed by other players. The quest will disappear forever. Ding, dong. The S-class quest, Search for the Lost Little Ghost, has been completed by other players. The quest will disappear forever. Ding, dong. The quest. The system's voice rang over a dozen times before it finally stopped. The players were all dumbfounded. There was only one of each S-class quest. If it was completed by other players, they would not be able to receive it. Without the quest, what was the point of playing? In the Rose Guild, the members were also wailing. Large guilds typically had the advantage in such world events. However, it had now become a bubble. Purple Rose frowned. She always felt that these matters had something to do with Li Cheng. There was no reason for her speculation, but purely a woman's intuition. Before she could say anything, the system's voice rang again. Ding, dong, the event ranking board has been opened. Please, check it in time. Ding, dong, congratulations to the Divine Dragon Alliance players for taking first place in the leaderboard. All Divine Dragon Alliance players have received a 50% increase in their attack and defense stats in the Shadow World. Hearing the system's voice, all the players were stunned and did not know what to say. What's going on? Our alliance has taken the first place. It's only been a few seconds? And we're already first. F***ck, what did I just see? Everyone, look at the leaderboard. Purple Rose was also confused. The event had only started less than 10 seconds ago, so how did the Divine Dragon Alliance take the first place? In the past, the leaderboards of all kinds of games would only open after some time or when there was a huge difference in strength. She could not figure it out, so she opened the leaderboard interface. Individual points leaderboard. 1. Netherworld, Divine Dragon Alliance. Shadow points, 1.7 trillion. 2. Eve, Eagle Alliance. Shadow points, 36. 3. Heartless War Soul, Divine Dragon Alliance. Shadow points, 34. 4. Origin of the Universe, Universe Alliance. Shadow points, 33. Alliance points leaderboard. 1. Dragon God Alliance, Shadow points, 1.7 trillion. 2. Eagle Alliance, Shadow points, 280. 3. Universe Alliance, Shadow points, 150. 4. 100 Flowers Alliance, Shadow Points, 139. 5. White Elephant Alliance, Shadow Points, 120. There were a total of 3 leaderboards: the individual leaderboard, the alliance leaderboard, and the guild leaderboard. At this stage, no one had established a guild and tribe yet, so the guild leaderboards were unknown. However, the other 2 leaderboards left all the players dumbfounded. Purple Rose's mouth was slightly opened and her eyes were filled with disbelief. She rubbed her eyes and checked it 3 times before she confirmed that she was not seeing things. Even she was shocked. 1.7 trillion points. What kind of concept was that? Purple Rose had tried to kill 100 small monsters and only received 2 shadow points. In other words, to catch up to Li Cheng, she had to kill at least a few trillion, or even tens of trillions of monsters. Her first thought was that her guess was right. The shop incident was indeed related to Li Cheng, but how did he do it? Could that man really be cheating? At this moment, Purple Rose did not know what was going on with Li Cheng. After looking at the leaderboard, the players finally understood what was going on. The style of emptying the shop was Li Cheng's basic operation. Damn! Netherworld, tell me, did you empty the activity shop? At Netherworld, Big Brother, please, leave us a way out. At Tribe officials, reporting Netherworld as a cheater. That's right, I also believe that Netherworld's a cheater now. The event started less than 10 seconds ago, and he already has close to 2 trillion points? We need an explanation. Right, we need an explanation, or else we won't be able to continue playing this game. In my opinion, Boss Netherworld has at least one glory for our alliance. In the past, our alliance has always been beaten by the Eagle Alliance. Hehe, no matter what you say, I'm on Boss Netherworld's side. With the combined buffs from the leaderboards and the Holy War buffs, won't we be able to take off? That's right. With such a powerful buff, wouldn't it be nice to increase the level of our troops? Why are you so conflicted about this? The players from the Divine Dragon Alliance could still accept this situation. After all, Li Cheng had provided them with an extremely powerful buff, allowing them to live up to the expectations of other alliances. The commoner players were happy to see this scene. Based on their previous experience in the game, those rare items had nothing to do with them, so they were not worried at all. The buffs were more practical, so taking advantage of the 3-day event, it would be better than nothing if their troops' experience points were maxed out. However, the large guilds were not happy. In the past, most of the rewards were exchanged by them during large-scale events. They occupied the best grinding spots and dispersed their players to snatch most of the bosses. They always took the lead again and again. However, this time, there was nothing left for them. What was the difference between these large guilds and those small guilds? Chapter 89, Li Cheng, I will take over this event. Eagle Alliance, Heaven Guild. In Eve's army, her heroes were still clearing the monsters around them. Eve's points were also increasing, but her exquisite face was filled with shock as she stared at the leaderboard. The event shop was also empty as she muttered in a daze, how's this possible? This was something she had never seen before in her entire gaming career. She took a few deep breaths, her eyes filled with fear. Then, she said, inform the Universe Alliance, the 100 Flowers Alliance, and the White Elephant Alliance. Tell them to act quickly. In the 100 Flowers Alliance, a man was furious. Netherworld's definitely cheating. When has our 100 Flowers Alliance ever lost to the Divine Dragon Alliance? Inform the Eagle Alliance that we'll definitely go all out in this operation. The same scene played out in the representative guilds of countless alliances. As the overlord of the entire alliance, the Eagle Alliance possessed extremely high influence. Some of the alliances were still a little hesitant about this operation against Li Cheng. In the future, if there was a major alliance war, those alliances that were closer to the Divine Dragon Alliance might suffer retaliation and suppression from the others. However, countless alliances were siding with the Eagle Alliance at the moment. They felt that if they did not target the Divine Dragon Alliance, they would not have a chance to do so in the future. In the Universe Alliance, a player named Universe Origin was looking at the ranking list expressionlessly. When his subordinates saw their leader's expression, they knew that he was in a bad mood. No one made a sound. A few seconds later, Universe Origin said angrily, "Netherworld's strength shouldn't be underestimated, but the dignity of our Universe Alliance can't be defiled. This time, we have to prove ourselves to the entire Alliance." This plan was concocted by Eve of the Eagle Alliance. There's only one goal, and that's to destroy Netherworld of the Divine Dragon Alliance. After Universe Origin finished speaking, the people under him echoed, furious as they all shouted in unison. They wanted to destroy Netherworld. Cheng naturally did not know what the players were thinking. Even if he knew, he probably would not care. At this moment, he was listening to the system notification ring in his ear. Ding, dong, congratulations to the Divine Dragon Alliance players for taking first place in the leaderboard. All Divine Dragon Alliance players have received a 50% increase in their attack and defense stats in the Shadow World. Ding, dong, you've triggered a 10,000 times amplification and received a 1000% increase in your attack and defense stats in the Shadow World. Ding, dong, you've taken first place on the individual points leaderboard. In the Shadow World, all your troops have gained a 50% increase in their attack and defense stats. Ding, dong, you've triggered a 10,000 times amplification and received a 1000% increase in your attack and defense stats in the Shadow World. Ding, dong, the target for the large-scale Shadow World mission has been released. Please, check it out in time. As soon as it finished ringing, Cheng was completely shocked. The leaderboards would provide all kinds of buffs. The first place in the Alliance leaderboards and individual leaderboards would receive a 50% increase in attack and defense stats in the Shadow World. This was a normal situation. However, after the 10,000 times amplification, it was a little unreasonable. It instantly increased his stats to their maximum value. Cheng understood that the system's buffs did not increase by 10,000 because once a certain value was reached, there was no more room for it to increase. As the attack and defense stats on each leaderboard were amplified by 10 times, stacking the two leaderboards meant that his stats had been amplified by 20 times. This number made Cheng feel like he was dreaming. 20 times. The attributes of his troops had increased tremendously. A legendary soldier was enough to instantly kill a champion soldier. And as champion soldiers, the frost dragons could be considered to be invincible. This whole event had been taken over by him, Cheng. This was also the reason why he did not immediately work on those hidden quests. With these few buffs he had just received, he could now easily complete the quests, although the bonus was far beyond his expectations. However, no one would complain that their attack and defense stats were too high. As the players entered the Shadow World, the target of this large-scale event was released. Cheng began to look through it. Active Shadow Crisis. Description: the Shadow Dragon has entrusted the players to clean up the evil forces in the Shadow World. Nature: public mission for the entire server. Target: clean up the evil creatures, 36.8 trillion/100 trillion. Mission reward: depends on the contribution points of each player. It might seem like a lot to kill 10 trillion monsters, but that was the goal of the entire server. There was not much to be shared among each player. After completing the quest, players would be rewarded according to their contribution. In other words, the more effort they put in, the more generous the reward would be. If one did not put in any effort, the reward would be very small. At this moment, Cheng heard a system notification. He had received a surprising message. He looked at the person who sent the message. It was the rich woman who bought a spot in his friend list for 10 million coins, Little Rain. Brother Netherworld, did you really empty the event shop? Cheng liked her quite a lot. He did not deny it and replied. That's right. Lit Rain was not surprised when she received Li Cheng's reply. She smiled. Hehe, can you sell a few legendary soldiers to your sister? Sure, 10 billion crystals each. The corners of Li Cheng's mouth curled up. Little Rain was silent for a while. It was obvious that she was angered by Li Cheng. Humph. Brother Netherworld, do you know that many large guilds are very unhappy with you right now? Give me some legendary soldiers, and I'll help you deal with them. How about it? Looking at Little Rain's words, Li Cheng was also a little surprised. It was not an easy thing to deal with a few large guilds. However, thinking about how this person was the richest woman in the Divine Dragon Alliance, possibly the richest woman in the entire game, she had a lot of power. So, he let it go. Generally speaking, if giving her a few legendary soldiers could eliminate the hostility of the various large guilds, it should be quite worthwhile. They would probably spend money to get rid of the disaster. However, in Li Cheng's eyes, the various large guilds were nothing. According to Li Cheng's plan, this event was to complete the Heart of Massacre's repair quest in one go. If the various large guilds did not make a move against him, it would be considered good. However, if they really attacked him, Li Cheng would be more than happy to oblige. Of course, Li Cheng refused. He originally wanted to close the chat box, but then, he seemed to have thought of something. There's no need. However, I have a few pieces of information to sell you. What do you think? Seeing this reply, Little Rain became excited. Tell me about it. Chapter 90, Purple Rose, I want it, too. Li Cheng recalled the memories of his previous life. There's a secret realm in a certain plane of the shadow world. The first time you clear it, you'll be able to obtain the recruitment authority of a level 6 soldier. There's also a secret realm in a swamp in the north. If you clear it, you'll obtain gold-grade soldier equipment. Its attributes aren't bad. I have detailed guides for these two secret realms. Even if a fool uses it, he'll be able to clear them. Are you interested? The shadow world and the main world were the same. There were all sorts of secret regions. Seeing Li Cheng's words, Little Rain's breathing quickened. Level 6 soldiers, gold-grade soldier equipment. In the current stage of the game, these were invincible existences. Furthermore, there were detailed guides. If it was someone else who said they had a guide, Little Rain's first instinct would be not to believe it. However, Li Cheng's words had very high credibility. Before this, he had published a beginner's guide. It was immediately regarded as the best guide in the past 100 years. The effect was obvious. Thinking of this, Little Rain hurriedly asked. Tell me, how much would it all cost? Even if you want me, I'll obey you. Seeing this, Li Cheng almost tripped. He helplessly replied. I can give you all of this for free, but you have to promise me that you'll join my guild in the future. Little Rain replied immediately without thinking. Okay. Then, Li Cheng sent her the coordinates of the two secret realms and the guides. Little Rain giggled and immediately went to conquer the secret realms. Li Cheng smiled. His goal had been achieved. In Tribe, the guild system was different from other online games. After establishing a guild, the guild leader could commandeer the resources of the other members. The Divine Dragon Alliance was too big. It was impossible for Li Cheng to manage it by himself. Hence, Little Rain could be the second most important employee after Pearl. The two secret realms that he looked down on were exchanged for a worker who had a strong appeal in the entire alliance. It could be said that he had earned a lot. Another key point was that Li Cheng did not reject her, as he secretly liked this rich lady. If other players came to him, Li Cheng would not even glance at them. After dealing with Little Rain, Li Cheng released an announcement on the battle channel. Holy War Notice, everyone, gather in the Shadow Plains, 12,392.64823. I'm about to launch a raid on a few large monster nests. Those who want to follow me for some gains must act quickly. Also, many of the monsters in the shadow world are extremely difficult to discover. I've sent the map to the channel. Those who want to come, follow this map. As soon as the news came out, the players were elated. Their previous experiences told them that they would have meat to eat if they followed Li Cheng. Of course, this time was no exception. At Netherworld, boss, are you cheating? Why do you have such a comprehensive map? You even planned the route. At Netherworld, I'm crying. Boss is finally willing to let us play with him. You definitely can't go wrong if you listen to Boss Netherworld. Everyone, charge. Boss Netherworld's really powerful. You guys can just be jealous. That's right. Didn't Boss Netherworld give you the buff that's under your feet? Do you still have the nerve to doubt him? I don't care. I'll always support Boss Netherworld. Me, too. +1. +1. After saying that, Li Cheng led his troops to the gathering point that he had marked. In just a few minutes, Li Cheng had already arrived at the target point. At this moment, there were already countless players gathered there and their expressions were filled with excitement. They wanted to go all out. Due to the beginner's guide that Li Cheng had previously published on the forums, the overall strength of the Divine Dragon Alliance was developing relatively well. Now, there were already quite a number of people who had the recruitment authority of level 2 soldiers. The stronger ones had already obtained the recruitment authority of level 3 soldiers and had begun to vigorously produce them. It was just that the ranks of those soldiers were a little rubbish. However, with the 2 buffs provided by Li Cheng, the time period for this event was enough to help them raise their ranks. After sizing up the situation, Li Cheng thought to himself that after this event was over, he could enter the next stage. The stronger the laborers were, the more benefits he would gain. After all, the wool came from the sheep, and if the wool grew fast and long, Li Cheng would earn even more. At this time, a slender figure riding a tall warhorse approached Li Cheng. This person was naturally Purple Rose. She disregarded formality and asked him directly, "Netherworld, what's going on? Did you exchange for all the items in the activity shop?" Li Cheng did not reply to her. Instead, he looked at her mount. It was from a secret realm that he knew of. It seemed that she had conquered that secret realm, and now, she wanted to take back what belonged to her. Also disregarding formalities, Li Cheng stretched out his hand and asked, "What about the recruitment authority for those soldiers?" Purple Rose was stunned. Following that, the expression on her face made her look as if she had eaten a fly. She felt extremely uncomfortable, but she endured the heartache and reluctantly handed over the recruitment authority to him. This was the recruitment authority for the Tier 4 soldiers that her guild had worked so hard to obtain. Even she felt the pain in her heart when handing it over. However, this was also what the two of them had agreed on previously. As the guild leader of a large guild, Purple Rose naturally would not go back on her words. Li Cheng took the recruitment authority from her. Without even looking at it, he threw it to Pearl, who was beside him. Even if it was the strongest type of soldier, he would not be interested in it. This action made Purple Rose even angrier. She had worked so hard to get the recruitment authority for him, but she did not expect this man to throw it to another woman just like that. She took a few deep breaths, and her bulging chest heaved up and down. She was secretly glad that she did not have high blood pressure. Otherwise, this would have been over. After more than 10 seconds, she calmed down and asked, "I heard that you provided Little Rain with the coordinates to the secret realms." Li Cheng was slightly stunned. He looked at her in surprise. He did not expect these two women to have such a good relationship that Little Rain would even share the incident with Purple Rose. Regarding this matter, Li Cheng nodded and said, "That's right." After receiving Li Cheng's affirmation, Purple Rose's eyes lit up. "I want it, too. How can I get it?" Hearing this, Li Cheng was a little hesitant. Little Rain was an unaffiliated person. He wanted her to be his employee. In the future, if she joined his guild, everything would be fine. However, Purple Rose was in charge of the Rose Guild, which could be considered a large guild. In the future, it would be impossible for her to join his guild. If he gave her the coordinates of the secret realm, it would obviously be a loss, and he would never make such a deal. He seemed to have thought of something, so he said straightforwardly, "I can share it with you. However, let me make things clear first. After the first clear, I still want the recruitment authority of the soldiers. If you agree, I'll give you a few coordinates. If you don't, it'll be the end of this discussion."